right, I'm starting to record our session. We'll get started in about 20 seconds. And we just have asked people to share their edgy wins in the chat, and I was just reading them off. Sarah, welcome. Learning something new every day about distance learning. Oh my gosh, so much learning. Shelly Hill from Heart. Love assigning with a video for a video message back. Having a video conversation asynchronously. Very powerful. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pause our music and we are going to get started, people. So welcome to the P-BVUSD Distance Learning Training on Canvas and Curriculum. How do I create a quiz and use it in a module? We are excited to learn with you about this subject. So are you curious about why the distance learning team even exists? Well, our distance learning team is striving to build the capacity of teachers to meet all students' needs through innovative, personalized learning experiences online. So that's what we're about. Now, all of you are like Zoom Zorros with the Zoom norms. So these are our norms. Take a read and we're going to move on. And if you have a question and want answers without it being lost in the chat, you can take a moment to type your questions in our Q&A doc. And if there are questions on the doc, we will answer them at the end of our session today. So teachers, do you ever feel overwhelmed with distance learning and need to reach out for help? Well, at Panama, you have an amazing support network that you can reach out to. You can reach out to colleagues who are tech savvy, your C5 model tech teachers, academic coaches, assistant principals, and principals. You can also check out our distance learning website at bit.ly/pbvdl. That's also where all of our trainings, all of the recorded videos are housed. Also, you can email us, your distance learning team, at distancelearning@pbvusd.k12.ca.us. I could be a rapper with that email address. You can give us a call on Google Voice. There's the number on the screen. And if you're having a technical issue, you can add a ticket on this website and our IT team, different than the distance learning team, will address your issue. Also today, after our 30-minute session, we will be hanging out for an after party where you can join us and be inspired and share and ask questions. So if you need to go after our session, that's totally fine. But if you'd like to stay and party, you can hang out with us after the sesh. Today, today's objectives are to learn how to create a Canvas quiz, understand the features of Canvas quizzes, and learn how to add different types of quiz items. So you may be asking yourself, what are Canvas quizzes? Well, Canvas quizzes are assignments that can be used to challenge student understanding and assess comprehension of course material. The quiz tool can be used to create and administer online quizzes and surveys. Quizzes can also be used to conduct and moderate exams and assessments, both graded and ungraded. And to tell you more about creating a quiz and basic functionality, I'm going to pass the mic over to Shannon. Shannon, it's all you.
Thank you, Hans. All right, let me share my screen with you and we could dig in. Okay, I want to start off with talking about quizzes, old classic quizzes versus new quizzes. So there is a newer version of it and it does have some benefits. You can duplicate quizzes and quiz pages. You can import content into individual quiz. You can search content within an item bank. You can set waiting times for students, shuffle answers, questions, and there are new item types in the new quizzes that Jill will be sharing with you later. This is kind of what it looks like when you get in. So you're going to see this as I go through the different kinds of item types and the different tabs that you will be working through for settings, reports, etc. So let's go ahead and dive in. And head on over to Canvas. Now, this is my Canvas page. When you get into the course that you want to create a quiz in, you can click on the navigation bar where it says quizzes. And you can create a quiz from here or find the quizzes you already have that you can edit. So I'm going to start off by creating a new quiz and then showing you the basic functions of it. And then later we're going to head back and I'm going to show you a quiz that I already created. So from here, we have our blue plus button to add a new quiz. You need to give it a title. I'll just call this sample quiz. This is where you can set your points. You can do assignment groups. You can choose how you want to display your grades, whether percent or points. And this tiny little box, we don't want to lose that, but that is if you don't want the quiz to count towards the final grade. So if you're doing a practice quiz, you do have a submission type, so you can use the external tool. And you can also allow multiple attempts at a quiz or limit it to just one. Down here at the bottom, the only thing I want to point out that's different than what you've seen before is you have a testing window. So you can select or tell Canvas when you want that quiz to be available to your students by clicking here. Once you have all of that information filled out, you're going to hit Save to get over to the quiz builder. Here we are. So this is the builder. I'm going to go across these tabs at the top first. You have some settings, so you have some options to limit time, shuffle answers, those type of things. And then here is your reporting. So once your students take the quiz, you can get some data by clicking on the data analysis button. This final one, moderate, I think this is really cool because you can differentiate for your students here. So if I have Lisa over here and I wanted to moderate Lisa, I can give her additional attempts, as many as you'd like there, or I can give her additional time or remove the time limit altogether. So a little bit of extra support for your students. Let's go back into the builder and take a look at that now. So here we have this little icon up here with a little piggy bank on it. That is our item bank. If you go to the item bank, you can create quiz questions the same way you create them here, or you can just create them here and add them to a bank. So it kind of goes back and forth. You can also preview a quiz once you get it done so you can see what it looks like for the students. All right, so I've already have a title here, sample quiz. This is where you want to add your instructions. Notice that it pulls up the rich content editor, but I also want to point out that this is a little bit more of a simplified version of the content editor. You'll still have most of your functions as far as like text formatting, putting in bullets, little style things. You can add tables, images. You can insert media with an embed code. You can do link, or you have a math equation editor there. So let's just put in directions and I'm going to click done. And now we have this little blue button with a plus. That's how we add our questions. So when I click on this button, I'm going to have all of my quiz items, types, and then I also have a link directly to the item bank if I want to use something that I already have banked. So for right now, I'm just going to show you a true or false question. And I want to take you through the similarities of the item types because all of them have some of the same things and then they all have something different because they're different types of questions. But they will have a title, so I can go ahead and put in verbs here. Whatever title makes sense to you. The students will not see the title, so if you're doing a spelling test, you can actually put the word there. They're not going to see it. To the right, you can duplicate quizzes here. You can move items by clicking on these little tiny dots, or you can delete an item with the trash can. Underneath that, this is where you add your question stem. So I'm going to click on there, and it's going to open up yet another content editor, and I can add my question. So Run is a word or is a verb. True or false. Some of the other things all items will have in common is they will at the bottom have a point value that you can adjust. And then they have these text bubbles that if you click that, that's for instant feedback for your kiddos. So if I want to give them a little message if they got the correct answer, I could do that. Or if they got the incorrect answer, I can give them a message there. And then there's a general feedback that you can just do something general and they would get it no matter what they answered. Just click done there. This is where I would save when I'm done. And the item banking, if I want this question to go into a bank, I can pull down here and I can just add it to that item bank. So now let's get into some of the differences between the item types. Since this is a true or false, obviously I have just true or false selected here. Run is a verb, so I'm going to select true. So you want to select the correct answer in the editor, and that's what's going to help you grade it. And I'm going to click done. So now I have a one question quiz. I'm going to preview that as a student so you guys can see what it looks like. Run is a verb. Yes, it is. So I selected my answer. When they are ready to submit, they click submit. They'll have to click it again. And it's going to grade it for you, which is really nice. And even better, it gives students instant feedback on what their score is and then that message that you put in there for them. So that's what it looks like for our students. I am going to go over to a quiz that I've already created and kind of show you what the different items look like. There's quizzes. I've got this ELA assessment here. I'm going to start in preview and then we'll work backwards and I'll show you how you can create these items yourself. So I'm going to preview this quiz. This is an ELA. I put a spelling test at the very beginning. I got a great idea from Kristen Lockridge here at Castle. I walked in through her room and she was having the students take a spelling test on their own asynchronously. She was watching them on Go Guardian, but she just recorded her voice saying all the words and then she did a fill in the blank answer. So this is what it sounds like. The word is elephant. Elephant. The elephant has a long trunk. Elephant. In the meantime, I could have been spelling that out. Here's another question type. You can do matching. So here I have some words and I'm supposed to match the word to the part of speech. When I pull down, I can see what these are. I'm going to go quick. Maybe I'll get some of them wrong. It's okay. Just want to go fast on the time. Let's try to get one right. There it goes. And this last question type is multiple answers, so it has more than one right answer. Select all of the verbs from the list. And I'm going to submit. Oh, I did very badly, but that's okay. But I can see exactly where I went right and where I went wrong. So I know I spelled my word elephant right. I had some issues here with the parts of speech, and notice this was worth 5 points. So even though I had 3 questions, that was weighted a little heavier. And I got my last ones correct. All right, so that's student view. I'm going to show you now the teacher view and how you can edit these different question types. So here I have my fill in the blank. I have my tools, my little pencil to edit that. I still have my content editor. Again, you can pull this down if you need a better view of it. And my question stem went right here. So I entered that question stem, and to get the fill in the blank, I highlighted the word that I wanted to be blank. So I didn't want elephant to show. I want that's where my blank is. And when you do that, it pops up a button and it says create blank space. So that's how you do that. And we have some different options depending on the different types of questions. So here, I want an exact match. It could be just contains the word. So you have some variability there. And done. Next, we have our matching. Matching is pretty straightforward. Again, you have the box for the question stem, and then you just put in your matches. So make sure these are correct. Red is an adjective, sun is a noun. And you notice when we were in the student view, the right side all became a pull down menu, and that's how they selected. You can also add question pairs or add additional items. And you can even put in some distractors. All right. The rest of that is pretty much similar to the others. Here's a third type. This is multiple answer. This is what it looks like. So here, I put in all of my answer choices, but you have to select the correct answer so it can grade it for you. Again, adding more. And some of the options are where it's a little bit variable. I can give these students partial credit if they got one right, maybe not both, or I can have an exact match. And done. All right, the last thing I want to show you before I pass it over to Jill, because she's got some great new items she's going to show you with the new quizzes. I just want to point out this question navigator. This is just something to help you organize. You can easily move questions around right here and just kind of stay on track if you're building out a long quiz. So Jill, why don't you show us the new items and new quizzes?
Thanks, Shannon. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And I want to show you just the 4 additional types of new items. So you can, once you convert over to the new quizzes, you'll have these as options, and then all the ones that Shannon had showed you are also there in addition. So they've just added some of these newer ones. There's a quiz that for ordering, so you can order text boxes, you can order numbers that the kids kind of like sort through and put them in the order that you would like them. There's one that's called a hotspot that I think is really unique. It's where the kids identify the hotspot, which is the correct answer. So it's great to use with the map. If you have a map of South America and you want them to identify where Brazil is, you can put the map up there, and then the kids can go ahead and put a, with their mouse, click on where they think Brazil is, and that's the hotspot. And then also you can use categories that you can sort out information for the students to do that. I have a math example for you, but I think science would be a great subject to have them sort out different items that they're learning in science class. And then there's the stimulus passage, which is a traditional passage that is done in ELA that you see a lot in CAS that has a long passage, and then there's questions that pertain to that passage. So I'm going to show you those items. So let me go back over to quizzes. And one of the items that came up in the chat box I noticed is that they're saying my screen looks different than Shannon's. So let me go ahead and walk you through to change over to accept the new quiz enhancements. So in your personal navigation bar down at the bottom, you should have settings. So click on that and then go over to the right-hand side, the feature options there, click on that. And that's where you have new quizzes. You want to turn that on. And also, if you're ready to do the RCE enhancements, you can turn that on also. These features are going to become defaults at the beginning of the year. So the old quiz and the old text box editor will actually go away. It won't be the default. You'll still be able to get to them, but they're going to be hidden. So I suggest that you get comfortable with the new quizzes and the RCE. Start now doing that. So let me go back over to quizzes. And I have an example here of the new types. So I'm going to go ahead and go into preview mode so that you can see what they're like, and then I'll go back in and then edit each one of the questions so you can see. So this is what it looks like from a student view. Takes a little bit time to load. Okay, the first question is example of an ordering type question, and it's asking to order the presidents. And so I'm going to quickly just kind of sort around. It's real easy for the kids to be able to do. They just click with their mouse and drag it in the order that they want. That's the first question. The next one is where you answer to a response of a question. And so they give you the text box. Looks very traditional of like Google Doc, that the kids know how to bold, italicize. They can put in an image, they can put in a video, they can insert a link, and there's also the math editor there. So they can do a lot of the traditional types of items that they're very comfortable with. The other one, I just wanted to show, this is a multiple choice question, nothing new to us, but I wanted you to see that you also can put graphics in your question. It isn't just text. And here's a new one. This is categories. So I love this one where you can sort. So I had an example here of rational numbers on the left and irrational numbers on the right, and there's boxes. And then they give you possible answers. And so I'm going to go ahead and start throwing them in where I think they belong. Go here. And I think pi is one that everybody uses as an example of an irrational number. So they just kind of drop and drag into the categories that they want. This next one is to upload a document. You can have them upload a file from their drive, and you can specify what type of file that you will accept. So if you don't want any audio or videos uploaded, you can specify here a JPEG and a PDF files are the only ones that you will accept. So you can kind of have those as focus type files. This next one is where it's an example of a hotspot. So the hotspot is, I need to put my answer on this graphic of a number line. So I look at the question, it's asking me to evaluate 4 minus 7. So I'm like, okay, I think that's at -3. So if I take my mouse, it changes and I can click and kind of drag, and there is my dot. So I was like, okay, that's where I think my answer is. So that's called a hotspot because the answer is the hotspot. And then the next one is the stimulation type answer where you're giving a long text. This text, for me, when I created it, it was just a copy and paste from another spot in the internet. And then the two questions on the right-hand side are examples that go with the text. So it's actually, they split the screen for you. So you can see that it is those questions 7 and 8 go along with bubbles. And these are just a multiple choice and a fill in the blank question. And so you can go ahead and submit, and it's warning me that I haven't answered all the questions, but I'm going to say that's okay. In auto grading, and let's see if I can beat Shannon's score. And I'm not sure. Oh, I did by maybe 10%. One more question I got than her. So, and then again, it shows the students the correct and incorrect answers on that. So let me go ahead and exit out of that. So let me go through and edit each of these items. And some of these I actually copied into the item banks. So you'll see it's going to ask me if I want to change the item bank item or not. So I'm going to click on the edit. And this was labeled ordering for my own benefit as a teacher because that doesn't show for the students up there. But then I selected that I wanted it to display answers in a paragraph. So it's down here at the bottom, which meant that it went horizontal. If I deselect that, when you view it, it's going to be then vertical. So you need to kind of make your choice as to how you want it to look for the kids. You can also include the labels or not include the labels. So I just wanted the kids to know that the 1600s were over on the left-hand side and 2020 was on the right. So they knew how to order the presidents that way. Okay, the next question was one that was just the text box, which is very traditional. There's nothing unique about that. And again, here is an example of a multiple choice type question. You're very routine, same as what Shannon had showed you. Now I want to go in and edit the category type of a question so that you can see. And it skipped up to the front, so I've got to go down and find it. And it's asking me if I want to edit a copy because it was in the item bank. And that will show up. But here's your two categories. One was the rational numbers, so I typed that in as one category, and then the other category was irrational numbers. And then I started choosing correct answers that go under each of the categories. So I went ahead and selected all of these as rational numbers, and then I selected pi as my irrational number. So you can just add as you go a new category. If I want a third category, I can add a third, I can add a fourth if you want them to really sort things. And there is distractors is another option, so one that doesn't even fit into a category. And it's the same as what Shannon had showed you on the points. The next area that I want to show you is when you want to upload a document, have the students upload a document, and you can limit the number of file numbers that they can upload and also restrict the file types. So, but you'll have to type those in with commas in between as to the types of extensions on the file. So you'll have to know that beforehand. Okay, and I want to go in and edit this hotspot because I was showing someone this and I actually did it incorrectly. So the kids, any of this blue area, the kids would have gotten right. And the answer should have been -3. So let me go back and go over this. So you have the question there, and I went ahead and I took an image from the internet, copied it into this as a number line. And the hotspot is where you want it to be the correct answer. I could have chosen a square, but square makes it a little more difficult. So I really didn't like the square, and I was supposed to do the oval. And the oval is a point that is near the -3, and it is an oval shape. So if the kids click anywhere in that area with the blue area, they will get it correct. If they clicking outside that area, it's not going to be correct. The other one that I was showing someone earlier that works great on a map, because Brazil is not a square or an oval. It's an odd shape. It's a polygon. So if you start clicking and keep clicking, you can make different shapes of a polygon to make it be the correct area that you actually want. So any of that blue area would be in the correct area. So it works really well with a map. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. That's kind of fun. Done with that one. And then the one that's very familiar for the students because they take the CAS test is when they have a text on the left-hand side and answers on the right. The formatting is all done for you in this type of an item. So you put the text on the left, and then here is where you are adding the types of questions that you want. And I added a multiple answer question in there. You can give partial credit also to that, and then the total number of points. So very similar to what you have seen because those are very traditional type of questions that I chose for that on the text. So let me go ahead and done on that, and let me go back over to the slide, and I'm going to pass over the mic to Hans, and he's going to go ahead and share us and take us to the party time.
Thank you, Jill. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. All right. So let me go to the correct slide. We are going to drop in a link to our feedback form. We hope you enjoyed this training, but wouldn't it be great if we could do it even better? That's where you come in to let us know how we can make our trainings better. We'll be reading through your ideas in this feedback form to make improvements. Thank you for taking the next minute or two to let us know how we can best serve you. Well, that concludes our distance learning training this week. We'll be starting our after party in just a moment if you'd like to stick around. I'm going to stop recording right now before I